man and woman. Nation's capital, so we standing tall. It's the city of the Zuma, for Poopa and Muma. Nation's capital, so we standing tall. There is freedom, no segregation. Welcome to the city of my president.
Hello, good morning. You're welcome to another episode of your weekly TV General Magazine program, Dateline Abuja on AIT. I'm Hawa Momo. Well, today on our lineup, we bring you updates from the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, Nilds, which was signed into existence by former President Goodluck Jonathan on the 2nd of March 2011. It was set up to perform capacity building services to the legislature at national, state level, and local government levels. Also to provide intellectual services in terms of research, training, technical assistance to parliamentarians and other formal and informal structures connected to democracy. Professor Abubakar Suleiman, who assumed the office as Director General of Nilds on the 28th of May 2019, speaks on how the journey has been so far. Let's take a listen.
The National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies, Nilds, established on the 2nd of March 2011, has recorded a lot of successes in its aim to capacity building. Director General of Nilds, Professor Abubakar Sulaiman, who resumed office on the 28th of May 2019, speaks on accomplishment of the institution and how it has been so far.
It has been very remarkable. We have done quite very well in line with the mandate of the Institute. As you could recall, the Institute was set up to perform the capacity building services to the legislature, both at the national, state level and local government level, and to provide intellectual services in terms of research, in terms of training, in terms of technical assistance to parliamentary staff, parliamentarians, other democratic actors in democracy, and other informal structures that have something to do with democracy in the country. In the last 4 years of my stewardship, we have done very well. We have actualized our mandate in line with all these goals and targets. I can conveniently tell you that we have surpassed all the targets set up in the various work plan from 2019 to date. In the areas of training, we have rendered training services to legislature at the national level, the National Assembly. We have done so much to parliamentarians and parliamentary staff at the subnational level. We have done so much to the various democratic actors, the CSO, the political parties, the NGOs, the press, and some other, client of ours that requires our services, including students. We have partnered, we conducted most of these services and renders of these services through our partnership with our donor agencies, like the UN Women, like the KES, the Conrad Adney Foundation, like the Westminster Foundation from United Kingdom, like Jägers and some other important donor agencies in the country. We have provided a lot of technical assistance to parliamentarians at the National Assembly. We have drafted so many bills, so many motions. We have scrutinized so many bills. We have supplied so many bills and motions in analysis. We have conducted a lot of research, through an evidence-based convoking of conferences, dialogue session, and workshop. We have partake in so many motion, debates, and brief analysis for the legislatures at national level. Before I took over here, the services Nilds used to render then, to a large extent, were limited to the national level. But in the last 4 years of my stewardship, we have covered about 21 subnational state governments. I think the first thing I emphasized when I came on board was the fact that we need to extend our services to the state level, the state assemblies, as one of the critical, goals that I wanted to achieve. And I want to tell you that we have done this, at least through our partnership with our donor agencies. We have covered about 21 states out of 36 states, including FCT. For the first time, we even conducted training services for local government level. To be precise, the area council in Abuja here. That was the first time since this place was created. We have also, as part, because when you talk of parliamentary services, capacity building for the parliamentarians, and you try to abandon the state assembly, then we have not done anything. Good governance emanates from the base, from the root, from the local government level. We can't talk about good governance and we tend to ignore the entirety of the 36 states of the federation. So but the first emphasis is that how do we get our services down to the grassroots? And this I can tell you I've accomplished, to a large extent. The secondly, I emphasize the need for us to cater for the service, to cater for the interests of the staff. How do we better the lot of the staff that work for us? I came on board with I met a lot of grievances among the staff of the institute. Issue that borders on stagnations of career progression, issue that borders on staff being on contracts for years without being confirmed, issue that borders on staff being on the same cadre for 7 years, issue that borders on staff not going on training. I addressed all this. A committee was set up to look at all this, and people that duly deserve to be promoted were promoted. People that duly need to be confirmed were confirmed. And I ensure that within 100 days of my assumption of office, at least 60 staff of this institute went abroad for one training or the other. And I can tell you now with all sense of pride and responsibility, and with kudos to the governing council, that all the staff I met on ground, all the staff, no exception, in the last 4 years, have undergone international training either in US, in UK, in any of the world-leading democratic countries in the world. You can't give what you don't have. You can't be training parliamentarians, but parliamentary staff, and you abandon the staff that under this training. So we believe we have to embark on training the trainer, and that's I did not just do at the domestic level. I try to extend it to the international level by exposing staff, to the best practices, so that they can impact the same knowledge, the same training model to what they do at the domestic level. Then thirdly, which is one of the visions I came up with, was the issue of how do we get the donor agencies to partner with us in running these services. I visited some donor agencies. I went to United Nations, UNDP, I visited the UN Women, I visited the Malaysian embassy, the Chinese embassy, the German, the KS, and today I can tell you that this thing has really, has been very rewarding, because today we have about 7 donor partners that are working with us. Talk of the Jäger, we talk of the CAS, you talk of UN Women, you talk of Westminster, you talk of NNRC, I can start counting. They have been partnering with us, they have been doing well with us. We have had so many sessions with them. Some of them have even brought their resources in terms of funding to kick into our programs. So it has yielded results. It's not every time we look up to government for everything. We should find a way of being on our own, being independent. We should make the institute self-sustaining. We should leverage on the opportunities and windows provided by donor agencies. And what we have done in the last 4 years, in terms of successes, in terms of accomplishments, has got much to do with the kind of support we have received from most of these donor agencies. And the fourth thing I mentioned when I came on board, I can't mention everything, was the issue of getting the permanent sites completed.
In commemoration of Professor Abubakar Sulaiman, the Senate President Hamad Lawan reappoints him as Director General of National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, Nilds. The Director General of Nilds, Professor Abubakar O. Sulaiman, has been reappointed for another 4-year term by the President of the Senate and Chairman of Nilds' Governing Council, Ahmad Lawan, in consultation with the Speaker of the House of Representatives and alternate Chairman of Nilds' Governing Council, Right Honourable Femi Gbajabiamila. The announcement was conveyed in a statement released on Friday in Abuja by the Deputy Director of Information, Communication and Protocol at Nilds, Mrs. Joke Akinsomi. The reappointment of Professor Sulaiman will take effect from May 28, 2023, and the President of the Senate has congratulated him while urging him to continue working towards achieving the core objectives of the Institute as outlined in Sections 2 and 3 of the Institutions Act as amended. From all of us at Dateline Abuja and crew, we say congratulations to you, sir.